London's known for a lot of things. For example, the London Eye, Piccadilly Circus, Oxford Street, like St Paul's Cathedral, like the Tower of London, the National Gallery, the Tate Modern, the Natural History Museum, Museum of London, the Royal Opera House, Shakespeare Globe, Royal Albert Hall, the Jenga Flats. Alright there, I'm IDG and welcome to London PFG. Today we're embarking to see Barking Riverside. Located in the far east of London, in the borough of Barking and Dagenham, is Barking Riverside. Specifically located in Barking, Barking Riverside is right next to the Thames. But before we get to Barking Riverside, let's talk a little bit about Barking. Barking was formerly part of Essex until 1965 when it was absorbed into London. It has a really bustling high street that's always full of energy. It's got a really good market if you ever want to get fruit, veg, clothes on a really good deal, and it's got a shopping mall as well. However, one of the biggest things that's not always talked about Barking is its historical roots. Barking was mainly famous for its abbey back in the day, even around 1066 when William the Conqueror, after his coronation, even stayed here. As you'll see in a minute, this is how Barking Abbey used to look like. You can see the old church there and the abbey itself, with all these other quarters which would be to hold visitors, guests, and obviously host the king. But as you can see, most of its ruins now, besides the church in the corner. All of its leftovers, this big green patch of grass and stones. You can see why William the Conqueror would have stayed here at some point in his life, as even though obviously the stones and layout has changed so much, you can see from this map just here that it was something to behold at the time, and it was fit for a king, such as William the Conqueror. Now back to Barking Riverside. It's also one of the only spots where you can see the Thames from Barking up close. And for all you EastEnders fans out there, if you look at the opening credits, you might get a little bit of a shot of Barking Riverside. That's a little hint for you guys. Getting to Barking Riverside, there's a few ways. There's first, walking, which is a bit of a mission. If you want to travel via the Thames, there is the Thames Clipper / Uber boat, and you can do your best James Bond impression. There's the Overground, Barking Riverside Overground Station. And lastly, using a combination of either the Hammersmith and City line, the District line, or even the C2C to get to Barking, and then eventually jump on the EL1 all the way to Barking Riverside. When you first walk into Barking Riverside, you immediately get this great view of the Thames, especially surrounded with all this grass, nature, plants, everything. It just really adds to the whole ambiance of Barking Riverside. The further you walk in, the more you realize there's something unusual about the grass, plants and trees here. And then you realize this is all because this area used to be all marshland. You can see now over the years through these maps how Barking changed significantly from the 1890s through the 1900s, slowly coming up to modern day with the increase in population, industry, and unfortunately that meant less and less nature.
As you can see, there's still remnants of it being marshland, and it's still a bit marshy as you walk through, but as you can tell, most of it has changed. It's still a beautiful sight to behold because you can still see the birds, you can still see the Thames, you can even see Thamesmead on the other side. And also once in a while, if you're lucky, especially in the summer, you get to see a seal or two. I know, very odd, seals coming down here, but you never know, you never know. As it says on the sign, Barking Riverside has 1.6 kilometers of river frontage. So basically it's great for a nice kind of walk, or even a nice kind of short jog, or if you're like me, a bit of a off-road cycle. Way. Zoom zoom.
From Barking Riverside, you get such a great view of the Thames, so you're able to see all the creatures and birds that fly past and just kind of congregate on the Thames. Also, all the boats and ships that go by. So it's a really cool spot, especially on a sunny day, just to admire the Thames and just relax in all its glory. However, there is one thing that's really important about this, is that Barking Riverside does not have a beach area. It's a very dangerous mud area which you would easily get stuck in, and trust me, I have put my foot in there and I almost lost a trainer. So you should not go down there, stay on the marshy land. Even though it's not that big, Barking Riverside is still a cool little gem hidden away in Barking. It's not really well known, which is great, and it also is quite a peaceful area and quiet. You'll see a lot of different animals, foxes, rabbits, maybe that seal might pop up every now and then. It's just a cool spot if you'd like to just go somewhere different, have a peaceful walk, and just get away from the hustle and bustle of London City.
Barking Riverside is one of the last places on the north side of the river in London that you can get this up and close to the Thames before you get to Essex, and it's quite nice, especially at high tide. Do you know what I mean?
With its great view of the Thames and overall uniqueness, especially because it's based in east of London and Barking, with the nature and also the creatures and cool origin of it being a marshland, Barking Riverside has a lot to offer, and in general it's just a cool little spot.
And if you ever are in the area or tend to go all the way, and if you want to see the end of the Thames and take the Thames Clipper, come to Barking Riverside. Have a nice little walk, especially on a sunny day. Even in winter it's not so bad, and if you're lucky enough to be there on a sunset or sunrise, definitely take the chance. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Tally ho!
London PFG, London PFG.
Barking historically used to be famous for its abbey and being a fishing town, but with industrialization, that's just